All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. And let's share my screen. So, live streams a little earlier today. I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions that have already come in. And I'm not expecting to get a lot of turnout. But sometimes people can come earlier. I usually do these Sunday night. I will almost certainly do one tomorrow night again, unless something comes up. So I'll post that invitation after this live stream for Sunday night. Now, right now, I just want to try to give people an opportunity that may not make it or in different time zones, just so they have a chance to ask some questions. So as we know, on Friday the market had a little bit of an intraday rally, a reversal from that morning kind of capitulation event. And I do believe the market is trying to decide whether or not to end the April cycle. I do think some sectors have ended that, and we'll be talking about that in our elite group update this weekend. That will open up short opportunities, and there are more short opportunities now throughout the market that are starting to emerge with the lower lows across different stocks and sectors. So we have to understand that caution's probably warranted at this time. Had been warranted. I posted and I've talked about this with our members since the beginning of the month that indices are likely to peak this month, and the psychology of the market is changing, is already changing and will change. And this was before Michael Burry and his bearish thesis was posted, before Kramer started to now talk about the fundamentals aren't making sense to him, and warning and caution in his followers. So we of course anticipated this psychology shifts a few weeks before it starts to happen, because just let's face it, that's the retail community is going to be driven by these these high profile influencers, right? And that's all we need is that spark. The technicals are already in position to have a big sell-off. We just need some kind of catalyst. We do have Nvidia's earnings this week. I think that could produce a potential catalyst if it's perceived negatively. We have also some domestic geopolitical type catalysts out there, and we have maybe a war type situation that may emerge that may not go according to plan. And there's all these potential risks. It's just that the conditions are all in place technically to have this bigger sell-off. What we've seen so far is nothing. The Dow Jones hasn't even corrected its weekly cycle, hasn't even started. I think it's about to, but the sellings may just be getting started. The Japanese yen also tells you, if you believe yen strength means market weakness, which historically it's been, we haven't even started the sell-off yet. We haven't even started. Nothing. It's going to get so much worse if the yen is telling us this is what's coming. Now, we have seen sometimes the yen can strengthen because the dollar weakens so rapidly. So that may also be part of it. So it may not be so bearish, right? If the dollar can weaken and create that dynamic, a second dimension, right? And this is what I say, the market trades in multiple dimensions, not one dimension. That may not be as make the sell-off as severe as it could be. And then, of course, a weaker dollar would help certain sectors. So our members kind of understand that forecast and where we're going. And, of course, Bitcoin, we talk about Bitcoin and crypto. Everyone's like, why is this sell-off happening, right? Fundamentally, why is this happening? It's supposed to be so bullish. Everyone's so excited. The government has never been more on board, and yet we go down. And I think it's just as simple as this. People are afraid of quantum computers right now, and they're rotating out of Bitcoin, and they're going into either stable coins, or they're going into privacy coins, or coins that are perceived to be safe from quantum attacks that may develop. That's what's going on. That's what I think is fundamentally driving the bear case right now. And I think there's nothing. It's that simple. I think when you look at Michael Saylor's posts and things like that, if he really understood the trading community, he would know exactly what to do to stop the sell-off. And because posting happy talk and I'm buying more Bitcoin is not going to work. It's not. It's more fundamental than that. So big, the community around cryptos got to come up with a plan to address this or dispute that there is a risk. I think that psychological damage is being done, and I think also the altcoin flash crash damaged sentiment and trust beyond what people think. I think perhaps the exchanges were in on it and wanted a quick buck, and some of the whales I'm pretty confident were in on it because they coincidentally shorted and closed at the same exact day. And of course, their whole net worth is long Bitcoin, so they have an advantage to see it go higher. So, but why would they ever short it? So I think this was just they thought it was easy, just a quick, easy thing to do. But I think they did more damage to the market mentality, psychology than they appeared, and they may have killed their golden goose for a minute. But if this sell-off escalates and avalanches, we may look back as this was one of the most foolish things the whales did, trying to sell and just kind of flip the market. They may have destroyed the structure of the market at the most fragile time when they were trying to get people to buy in and get more companies and governments to put this on their balance sheet. After an episode like this, I doubt that will be discussed in a serious way now. So this is where we are. We on our channel, we predicted the bounce here and got it exactly to the penny. And again, I wasn't in the know. We had the technicals and boom, we had the bounce, and then we had the short trade here and boom, we puked down. And now we may be coming to an area where the market could stabilize, but there are some other bear cases that are just as valid that could also emerge that we need to be aware of, and our members are aware of those and understand how to trade that. So that's kind of where we are at the moment with Bitcoin and crypto. So let's go into your questions and we'll see if and again, I'm not expecting a lot, but I was able to kind of get started on some of these. So I'll start with the first one, BTDR stock on the 4-hour. All right. So it's making a bigger X wave. Okay. So I think it's making a bigger connection. Here's where I think it's heading. It can always be a run-in flat. So it can truncate. It just needs to complete its impulse. Okay, it just needs to complete its impulse. So, how it completes it may already start its 4s and 5s and complete it right here. Like I said, it just gonna, like Bitcoin, needs to complete an impulse. Then it could rally, and then I think that rally will determine its fate, right? Whenever this stabilizes and rallies, then the next move is going to determine its fate. It's either of course, it'll pull back, and it's either going to go and finish its cycle, or it's going to fail, and the fail will be biblical, right? It'll be a blowout, right? A double. So just understand that that's kind of where it is, and that's really the message in crypto, right? Crypto is probably going to stabilize soon. There's more downside expected, just a little bit more, as long as we can keep some bullish divergences in place, and then a relief rally. What happens after that relief rally, I think, will dictate the next 12 to 18 months of trading in crypto. So I think that relief rally is important to watch and how it emerges, and that's why people that follow me, we track it every day, because every day the data changes and we have to maybe change our forecast or update our analysis. The market is dynamic, so we have to understand that. All right, then the next one was BTCFX. Can we get an update box? Are things too dynamic at the moment? All right, we have to go to the daily on this, and even the weekly. So it's kind of not a lot of data points. So I did give a box only, and again, it's not a lot of data, so it's not as accurate as we could be. I'm basing it off of this shallow connector. Right, and there's your box. Right now, typically, if we're correct in this whole move, it would go to the wave 4. So you need to mentally prepare that you're going to go deeper into the box and perhaps even pierce it and come down to 18. It's just morphing into a more complex, a deeper pullback. Now the other path it could do is bounce here and bounce here and then fail one more time and then still hit like I call the sweet spot. Is anytime I see waves that somewhat overlap or close to it, typically the market loves to pull back between the 4 and the 2. I think I can tell you, like, this is just it's something I see in practice quite often. And, practical application, and people who follow me for years know this. So you have to be careful of this. Now, if this happens, is that telling us where Bitcoin's going to go, or is it just going to go straight to this level? Now, we do have a higher high. That's good. This looks impulsive to me. Okay, it looks impulsive. So it looks okay, but as you can see, there is a lot of white space, right? There's no, like, we don't think it's going to do these things. Like I said, it should bounce and fall. But what if it does? It can actually go all the way down, right? And then you could feel that pain, sell everything you own, only in a couple years to see it up here in the 3 of 3. And this can easily be a 1 2 1 2. So this is the rest of the market, guys. The conversation is there is a lot of white space. You see all that white space below these lows, wherever the low is, whether it's April or 2022, because the market has gone essentially uncorrected. It has not had a proper correction or bear market pullback other than April, right? Even from April, like you can say that in so many names. So this is all potential space that may eventually fill up with price action that would still keep the bullish structure in the future. If this happens, if we get this white space filled on tech and in these other stocks, people are going to think the future is hopeless. It'll never come back, but it will. And that's you gotta understand. So once we start pulling back, anything is possible. It can always get worse. I think though, I don't have a lot of data points to look at this. It's showing in a box, but I would wait a little bit and probably let that go a little deeper, especially with Bitcoin. But once Bitcoin's in the box, then honestly, it could rally at any moment, and then you'll have to manage the trade, right? It will either bounce and go to new highs, which is what we all hope for, or it will do a double correction, and you'll have to manage that. Okay. All right. The next set of questions. Let's go to those. All right, Ryan, let's go to yours. Open. All right, so I'm calling this a 5 swing move down. The reason for it is we have bullish divergence on this ever so slightly. So I want to call this 5. And if it's 5, that means you need another leg lower. Now, that doesn't rule out the possibility that you're still in B and you do something like this, right? And come down later. So I can't say that won't happen. If that's going to happen, it needs to happen and stay above 787. But I think if you break 787, that isn't going to happen, and you're heading down. So if you're hoping for that pop back higher, which it could do, you need to see this thing move on Monday. But if it breaks this level, I think this would be the path. And the next area where it could find its footing would be at 379 in this box, with of course divergence erased on the 4-hour. Right, we need to come down, and on the daily as well. We need to come down. But like I said, could it? We are so close on divergence, so close. The market's not perfect either. So it's your call. This is the middle area. I know I don't trade the middle area. I never encourage my members to trade the middle area. But if you have to want to try, I would say that's the key level of that low right around 787. if 787 can hold, there is possibility for another move higher, and you probably will take these highs out, and either you'll make B up here and rug pull, or this was the low, and it's a whole nother cycle higher. So yeah, it's tough. It's a tough call. It's a gamble. This is a gamble. It's a gamble. You know, and you'll just have to do what's best for you on that. LPSN. LPSN is kind of pushing lower. So unfortunately, right, we got this bottom area, but then it made a lower low. It made that lower low and spiked, and then it's about to break the low again. So it's extending lower. It's extending lower, and if you look at it technically, what happened is you have this kind of inverted cup, right? This inverted top cup, and then it broke the neckline, and it essentially just back tested the neckline and got rejected. That's what happened here. So now you're going to have to suffer through Y, another leg lower. How far down it goes, I don't know. You're going to have to label it as it falls and look at the divergences. There's going to be no way to kind of pinpoint it. But I do think it's going to likely have to take out this level there and this on the daily. And when those conditions are met, maybe you have another opportunity to low. Now, the other opportunity is to short it now, right? But now you've made a lower low, like you broke this low, and now you broke this low. So now it's a short opportunity. I would say it's more of a short opportunity than a long opportunity for the time being. So if they want to rip it back up, you can look for more short opportunities now. But it appears it's ready to enter the next leg lower. SPHW looks to me as a double correction as well. Here had 3. It did hit this box. We got a reaction, but once it failed and CM made the lower low, it dooms the advance. And so now it bounced. Of course, it failed, and now it's going to have to finish the structure. Then, like I've shown. The problem this stock has is I'm only showing 3 off the low. So either you believe it's going to be a leading diagonal can subdivide in 3, 3, 3s, you know, in 5 waves. So a leading diagonal could be ABC, ABC, ABC. Typically the waves overlap in a leading diagonal. This is typically a leading diagonal looks something like this as it comes off the bottom. And then when you make 5, it comes all the way back down and then comes out in 3 and a V bottom. Now, that's still possible as long as you stay above 89 cents here. But if you break that, then this was just a corrective bounce that corrected that whole cycle, and you're going to start a whole new leg lower. So again, it's very risky to trade it. You know, it's again, it looks like you have 5 finishing up. So you do a relief rally. Now, this rally is likely to fail one more time, just based on the structure. Now, if it could capitulate real quick, then it could end, right? It can end. So you got to look at these divergences here. Let's take a look. See how you have a little bit of bullish divergence. You don't want to have any divergence. So you're actually close. So there's a possibility this count can morph into something different. I'm just showing you what I think is going to happen. But if it morphs into something different, it just kind of capitulates real quick, then we can call that A, B, C, and then it's over. Correction's over, and you'll get a more substantial bounce or potentially the bounce to new highs. But now really, if you're buying it, you're trading it above this level. So there's a lot of risk. So, all right, DEFT. DEFT, let's take a look at this one. You know, I still look at it as 5 waves. 5 waves here with the divergence, and even with the peak early. So there's a lot of ways I can label this. I'm just kind of looking at it from this point of view. But my take is, if this is the right label, it's gone deep enough. You're below the 4, and if I look at this correction, it looks like it either ended here or it's about to end at any second. So I think this one looks okay. Now, I don't know what these guys do. Maybe they're crypto related. I would assume DeFi. I'm not sure what they do, but but this looks close to completing. Let's look at this. Yeah, capitulation there and there. So look at that. That's what we love to see, that kind of capitulation. So I would say you could trade it long above $1, and maybe it's making the first wave off the low right now and pull back a little bit and start to build something. Okay, that's what I think this is going to do. Now, it could always bounce and go lower. Remember that. I can always do that. All right, the next question comes from Anonymous. Plug. Plug, I looked at a couple times, and when I look at Plug, it had a very unorthodox correction because we had the low here, and then it made another low, but it really double corrected when you look at it. It just kind of like, boom, wiped out divergence, but the price really didn't fall in relative to the first leg. It was super asymmetrical, but it does meet all the criteria for a complete double correction. So we have to assume the correction's over here. We have to, even though it may not make that much sense. And then when you look at the wave, your peak is here, so that's probably your 3. So it looks impulsive. So now you have to look at, what are we going to do here? What are we doing here while this plays out? I mean, as of now, it looks like, you know, an impulse coming down. It looks like an impulse coming down. So the data is dynamic. This could change on Monday. If this just dumps on Monday, well, then the correction is going to end. If it doesn't, and it rallies too soon, which I think it's probably going to do, it's going to fail and come lower later. So I think this one is a lot harder to analyze, the shorter cycle, but I think it's going to survive to see another swing at some point. So I think it's going to take this high out at some point in the future. Now after that, who knows? Remember what we always say is you can get the third wave, but the fifth wave is never guaranteed. So you may get this third wave, and that may feel good, but after that, who knows if you'll get this? Because after that third wave, it can just go bankrupt now. Then it can just, you know, go bankrupt. So I think this is it's good to kind of keep our eye on it, but right now is risky unless you can get some kind of capitulation event in the next week or two that drives this to race divergence and then shifts this to an A, B, C structure, and then we can put 2 in over here. So I just don't know exactly how this will play out, but yeah, I think it's gonna be okay, but you may have to endure some pain. NUAI looks to me like it made 5 waves off the low, and it's in a flat that isn't quite finished yet. Our wave 4 is here. Maybe it comes back down to 260. It's not, I don't think it's ready yet. I mean, we can look at the label in here. It looks like, again, we can try to label this real quick. Let's see, I think it erased divergence. It didn't on that time frame. There, so yeah, so that's the right label. So we'll label it this for now. But again, if it erases divergence, this will become a 1-2, 1-2. And you know the drill. It goes lower. Now, we are correct in it's a little mini grand super cycle, right? It's priced from 0, from existence. So 2 can go as low as 2 can keep going down, and it can go bankrupt. So there's no guarantees on this one once it's in this 2, especially in a flat. So the only way to do it is you're gonna have to look at the impulse and just just take a stab at it, or wait for a reversal sign, which would be better. Wait for this cycle to end, reverse, and then buy the first pullback. And buy the first pullback against the low. But that requires patience and psychologically accepting the fact that you're not going to buy the bottom. because you're going to play it safe. Because if you if you don't buy the bottom right, you just keep going down. You lose everything. All right, UAMY. Let's take a look at this. United States Anatomy Corporation. Again, I looked at this as 5 up. That's finished. And 1, 2. I don't have this here. Let's see here. How can I do this again? Sorry. Here. 1, 2. Yeah, here. There. Something like that. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's too deep for a 3 and a 4. So it's too deep for a 4. So we're in another 1, 2. And it looks like it's truncated. I think it's done. Now, the thing is, the risk of a double correction exists when you truncate and it's too truncated. It's not like if it was here, it's different. But this is a little. So I would be worried about a double correction in this name. Okay, I'd be worried about a double correction. But it does look like the cycle's over. It's going to build a new uptrend, and perhaps it is done too. So it's tough. The box was truncated. So I think you have to build a new high. Now, if we make a lower low, and we talked about these all the time, we make a lower low, well, then the double correction is almost is highly likely, right? If we come down and make a lower low and then swing back up, right? Then this is shorter. You can short, and then you can make the next leg lower. If it doesn't make the lower low, well, then this connector can build or pop, potentially you make the bottom. Okay. And then check divergence on Zcash coin. Zcash is Zcash is in one hell of an extended 5th wave, I think. Okay. Crypto always ends like this. Altcoin pumps, we just haven't had one like this in a long time. Altcoins have the massive extended 5th waves. That's why their corrections are so brutal and so deep. And this is no exception. Here's our 3. All that's a 5. And then look. Divergence, 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 divergence. It's just slowly decelerating. The daily, divergence, divergence, divergence. The weekly, oh, that looks great. But that's probably just some 3-wave move. So you're just seeing the 3rd wave from here. And 2, 3. Okay, so that's nothing. We could talk about that later. That may be a 4, right? We may correct sideways for months or a year. But my guess is this is going to come to an end soon. It looks like in this final leg, I can label it either this way, one more high, or 1, 2, 1, 2, and the craziness goes to 1,000. So I don't know how I want to label this. I was kind of torn, right? Do I label it conservative? Do I label it more bullish, right? To 1,000, right? Or do we say it's already topped and we call the flat below 739? And I think we could do that if we fall back below 622. So it's kind of like in a tough position to forecast at this specific exact moment, because this is also just as valid. But what you need to understand is if these divergences remain, whenever this pump ends, it's likely to come back to the 4s. So you're looking at $118 as low as 90, somewhere down there, right? In a brutal bear market. What would cause it? I don't know. Maybe governments will start banning privacy coins. They're like, oh, you want to go into privacy coins to get quantum proof and to protect your, holdings from AI, blockchain crawlers that are going to emerge. So there's this thing now going around the internet that AI is going to be able to crawl the blockchain and piece together who you are, and just give the governments a printout every day of who didn't pay their taxes. And they can just say, oh, this, Jane Smith in Egypt didn't pay her taxes on Bitcoin when she, converted from, Ethereum to Bitcoin, and now everyone's afraid of that. That's another, by the way, that's also driving the bear market right now. So they all want to go, oh, well, let's go into privacy coins. Oh, hell, let's go to the privacy coins. Let's go into all the privacy coins. Well, guess what? The government's just going to ban those coins. So this is going to end when they say, oh, governments are going to say no Zcoin, not allowed, get it off the exchanges, get it off. It's and then guess what? This thing is just going to collapse, and then they're going to have to figure it out. That's what's going to happen. That's how this pump's going to come to an end, a screeching halt, right? A screeching halt is when that FUD starts to emerge, because they're not going to allow this. But that's what's driving this rotation. And I believe that's what's happening. It's like people are scared of quantum, scared of this, and they're going into privacy coin. I was like, well, what about, the other privacy coins, and are they mooning? And they're not really getting this. Like they're doing all right, but they're not like doing what Zcash did. Zcash is kind of like one of these anomalies. And of course, our group, our elite members, this was brought to their attention. This box back at $38. And a few people did take it. A few people did buy it, including myself. And all you need is one home run trade to make your year, and this was one of them. And now you have to do what's best for you. When do you sell? I don't know when to tell you. And of course, there were other buys along the way. There was one right here at 119. Again, a lot of people were like, oh, I don't buy fours. Well, if you don't buy fours, you missed all that. I mean, so you got to buy fours. And how about here? You had one, and then you had a flash crash box. So you had two, and then so it's really an interesting market. But I gotta imagine the divergences are gonna overwhelm it soon. It's gonna come down. I just don't know when. And then this will either make a 4 for a long time, a 4, and make one more 5, and then collapse. But more than likely, when you look at the overall structure of this is probably just a massive 3 swing bounce, right? It's just a massive, because you do have a lower low. Oh, that lower low, huh? So what it tells me is it's probably not going to stick. Like, I don't think Zcash is the next Bitcoin, guys. I just don't think it is. But it has been a hell of a ride. I mean, this has just been insane. This is what all season's supposed to be like. This is what it's supposed to be like. Maybe one day that will happen again. All right, let's go to the other stocks that you guys have. CCJ. Uranium related, I believe. And this one is in a 4-wave. And I have a box for you. 7402, 5903. It looks like it's trying to do a double correction. Now the structure can morph into a lot of different things. So just if it's just a conventional correction, it would just kind of go lower into the box. But what we know about this market is nothing's conventional. So if it does something like this, in truncate, it's likely to fail. If it morphs into something like this, there's another possibility here. Likely to fail. A, B, C. So I'm just showing you, like, with the data today, it's down. But if this whipsaws around, it's going to change the levels and change everything. This wave is really not ideal either, the subdivision, right? Should I put 5 there and put 3 there and make it a flat? Okay, if I do that, let's just say I do that and I make it a flat, we still get to the box. So it's a confluence. So that's going to produce strong support, whether it's labeled as a flat or not. I looked at it several times. I don't think it's a flat, but when you look at it from just like just kind of a 1,000-foot view, it looks like it doesn't look like 5 waves. Yet when I do the subdivisions, I can get it. So you just have to decide, again, and I know this offends some purists out there that are, the orthodox, so orthodox about Elliott wave theory. But at the end of the day, we have to go through a lot of charts. We don't have time to do every single subdivision perfectly, or we can't go through all the symbols we go through. So we sacrifice that to go through all these symbols fast. But I know it does it. People email me, well, they DM me, they tell me they're offended, and is it because one, like the peak won't line up with the right little line, like, oh, I didn't put it there or there. I mean, that actually bothers people. I'm surprised, but I mean, my personality doesn't bother me. But I guess if you're super precise and you look at Elliott wave theory as like biblical, almost scripture like, it could be considered, heresy, like what I'm doing. They probably think of me as like I should be like stoned or something. So like, just know that we use it, but we're not married to like making pretty graphs. We don't have time for that. That's why our channel works, and I can get through a lot of your symbols. All right, BTUQ. I show 5 up, but as you know, because it's considered IPO, it's correcting the cycle from 0, right? So it's pulling back, and it looks like you bounced here, and you made a lower low. So it looks like it wants to take another leg lower, you see? And so I'm just kind of, again, not a lot of data. I think as long as you're in this downtrend, it's bearish with the lower low. And again, you even had it here. You see that lower low right there, and then it pulled it back down. It goes lower. Now the next fib level for this is 231. I don't know if it can get all the way down there, but what it needs is another leg lower. And I don't know if you'll be able to time it unless you just label it and get lucky. I believe all that, let's see, the 45-minute. This 45-minute divergence all has to erase. So this has to come all the way down and take out all those peaks. So it needs more downside. The lower lows have done that. So it's shortable. I guess you can short it on bounces in 3 waves until that happens, but it's because the data is so incomplete, it's even risky to do that. So I'm just giving you kind of my best guess on this one. Okay, ABC, and that's your connector, shallow connector that failed. Okay, thanks, and I appreciate that. Delete videos. Yeah, we updated the videos, add in a market overview to all the videos, like a narrative about where the market is and where it's going in the next 12 to 18 months. That's new to Elite members, and we, communicate it. When I first started doing it, I think it was November 2nd, or it was that first weekend in November that speculation is likely ended, and the psychology of the market was shifting. Yeah, November 2nd, and it was going to turn. And this was before Michael Burry, before Kramer, before all the scrutiny about the fundamentals. We were able to anticipate that shift was likely happening this month, and it's already happening, and we're seeing more and more of that, and that's the bearishness in the market coming out, and that's what's going to drive the sell-off and drive the risk off, and that's why you need to be really careful in speculative names that really don't have a lot of earnings power behind them or cash flow. What has cash flow? Pharma. Guess what's been doing well? Pharma, right? Guess what's been doing well? ALB, right? It has cash flow. It's got the stocks that are surviving the pullback so far, which we really haven't even started yet, have been stocks with cash flow for the most part, or just better, just kind of like more safer picks, stable, staples and things. Like, it's not going to be. Like, you got to be really careful. The correction, or perhaps mini bear market or bear market coming up, as we're so far off the April lows, may destroy and annihilate speculative tech. I'm just telling you guys. So you just need to understand that that is out there. So that's my personal view, and doesn't mean not to trade it, but it's just telling you, like, you better be paying attention and managing your money accordingly. MSOS broke the low. Okay, so I think the path is now. We assume it's a double correction until it's not. So MSOS does show 3 waves up. It can turn into a leading diagonal. We've talked about that before, or it could fail and break the low. And again, I gotta get rid of all that so you can see it. But basically, it can break this low, which will open up a collapse, or it will hold it. Now we've double corrected. This bounce was strong enough to correct the whole thing. And unfortunately, that bounce failed. So what your question is, can I short it now? And the answer is yes, you can short it now. Yes, you have a short setup until you get to the next box. But now the 45-minute time frame, the higher the time frame, the better. But you broke the low, right? The cycle is a fail. You have a failed cycle. So now would you short in the hole here? Highly risky. It'd be better if you can get a relief rally of some sort in 3 waves, where you can actually see it on the 45-minute time chart, not on the 5-minute chart, but like it does something like this, right? And then you can short. You can short that box, and then you can short it. That's what you're hoping for. Now that may not happen. It may just go right to the box, and if it does, it does. And then you'll have to decide, do you short in the hole or not? Because you can get squeezed back up to 416. It could squeeze. The market can squeeze you back up, right? It can do that. So just understand that. But it is with the lower low in the failed cycle, it's now a short. But once you get to this box, you'd be highly advised to be much more defensive on your short position, because then you have another chance to rally like you did back here. But this rally could potentially produce a violent reaction higher if it works. So if you're short here, this is where you can lose more than 100% of your money. The problem you also have is you still are in a double correction. You are capitulating, right? What if you truncate? Because if we get 3 and you short and you're in this 3, I guarantee you this will be up huge 3. Right, and you know what the news will be. It will be federal news, positive federal news. It'd have to be, and no one knows when that news would drop or how that will emerge. So it's not without risk, shorting a name like this that's so volatile. So I never would encourage a short to any of my members. But if it's something you want to do, my system that would allow it. But I think there's too much event risk where you could blow up your whole position and owe more than you. Because again, your shorts, you could lose a limited amount of money. Right? All it takes is one tweet from Trump saying, I'm going to legalize it. It's happening. Or a bill, it's in the bill and no one noticed. I guarantee you that $3 will be $9 like in a second. That's what will happen. And if you're short, you're on the hook for that. You're on the hook for that. That's what's going to happen if that ever happens. If that ever emerges and they're like, yep, it's federally legalized, it's legal. That is what the market wants. It wants full legalization. And if they get it, it's going higher. If not, it's going to go, like you said, I guess 0, because commodity costs keep going up and everything else. And CGC is also in the same predicament, right? 3 waves. Now it's in a bigger 3 waves. And so will it get the lead in diagonal, right? The bounce, or is it going to get the clap? I don't know. Now this one, the short isn't as lucrative, right? Your box is 93 cents. Or, maybe it can go down and break 77. So, but again, if it does rally in 3 waves, you can short it if you want to take the risk or not. But you are risking it because there's a massive amount of event risk, and I think that's the risk here. So, but anyway, this is the chart, and this is what I think. It's either, and it will come down here and bounce, and either will collapse or it will do that. It will go to the next leg. So it's just a more complicated correction. They can all go to 0. I believe it if it is not legalized federally, and all of a sudden people start turning on it. And I am starting to see some negative articles, being floated on social media and stuff like that. Then it will keep going down. And then if you add the commodity costs going higher, you can make the fundamental case that these companies are going to be in a lot of trouble potentially. But if commodity costs go down and inflation eases, that may help them. But then again, the regulation is the key, right? That's the death knell. If it starts to get regulated or restricted more, it's the death knell. If it gets loose, regulations loosen up more, then of course it's going to go higher, regardless of cost, in my opinion. So this is CGC, guys. That's CGC's chart as of now. We'll see what happens as we come down into here. Okay, next question. Tilray. Tilray's in the same predicament. It failed cycle, and it's heading lower. So unfortunately, just got. Well, I'll just kind of show you again. We have the 5 off the low. Now this is well off the low, so we would think it's going to make another move higher. We would think it would at some point. Now the problem is on this correction here. Let me make it darker. You have it should have ended here, but you just got this pathetic little bounce and it failed. So now it's got to take another leg lower with the rest of the market. But the thing is, where does Y go? Right? It's going to have to erase divergence. It obviously did that. Look at the capitulation, the panic. I mean, mass panic. Mass panic. So it could be one of these asymmetrical shakeouts. Like it could end now. It could end now. Right? It could end now and just been a shakeout. Or it could double and continue lower and just continue to melt down. But I think right now it's kind of hard to say that it will go higher until MOS and maybe CGC are in their boxes. So I would mentally prepare yourself for more downside. Now, if it were to really back up, right, I would be very careful shorting this. I would not short this name. I would not short this name because this one has a very impulsive look off the low. This is the best looking one of them all. The best looking one of them all. Okay. You know, the Y can go lower, I guess. I mean, it's just going to be tough to time it. The best tool would be where MSOS is kind of in a box here. This looks like it's 3 down, right? Super asymmetrical. So probably let's just assume it's got another leg lower. Right, another leg lower is coming. So we just got to assume another leg lower is coming. For now. Now the other count that works is 5 down, right? Something like this, and then I can do that. I think we'll leave it that way. That's probably the more likely view for now. But yeah, just a really small bounce, unfortunately. Okay, that's Tilray. Is HYMC in wave 1? Okay, so this is this one is I believe the miners are double correcting. I don't have it's not like 100% certainty, but I believe they are going to do that. Now this could be a flat or WXY. I'm going to say WXY for now. You have your wave 4 cluster. I think it's still in wave 4. I think this was a sucker's rally. When I look at what gold and silver did, I look at the XME, and I look at some of the other individual names that are the big names. I'd be very careful thinking this is some new wave out. I would be really, and then this would make a lot of sense because if this is 4 on the higher degree, we need to come down and break this trend line, right? We're gonna have to break that trend line, and on the daily, we have to do the same thing. We got to break, and I believe that's what's gonna happen. So I think this was a sucker's rally. I wouldn't call it. I would call it a 3-wave sucker's rally that's likely to go lower, and then find a low somewhere around $6. To negate that view, of course, we need to push higher. And if we can push higher, then perhaps we can negate that view. But we need even if it goes higher, it could still be in the final leg, the Y leg. So I don't think the correction is over. This is very 3 waves. So I don't think this is wave one of a new impulse, because when you look at it, it's not really a 5-wave look yet. It may turn into one later, right? It could turn into one later, but right now it's 3. Right now, maybe it could do 4 and 5, and then that could be okay, that's 1. But then maybe that's 4 and 5 here. But more than likely, since we didn't correct deep enough here, it's not this 4. So we would likely just say 5's extending, and you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, or something like that. So that's why the minors is tricky to get the labeling just right. But based on what I'm seeing, I would not be surprised if this rug pulls back down and doubles and does something like that. Okay, MVIS, you know, I was looking at it. If it can hold this level, I mean, that would be ideal. The problem I have is the subdivisions indicate it should make one more low. So why did I say it's ideal? It has erased divergence there. So you don't want to on the higher time frame, you want to keep, you don't want divergence, you want divergence erased. So maybe it can make one more low, but it needs to do it in a kind of a, you know, a sharp pullback. This could be a triangle here, and if that's the case, we can make maybe one more low of some kind here. You know, maybe this is maybe it's like an end in diagonal or something. And again, I don't have all the subdivisions worked out, but maybe it does something like that. Now, if it could come back out and take out 97 cents, the correction's over, right? And then it's going to build off of this low. So I think it's in a kind of a tough position. I wouldn't be surprised if it's finished, but I'm not bold enough to call it that just yet. But do what's best for you. This again, I would never trade a symbol like this, by the way, and because it's in the middle area, and it's a complete like I would just, to me, this is just not something I trade, because it's just so hard to forecast a connector and a connector like we're in. So hard to forecast this type of wave, but I did my best. I tried to do my best. So just good luck, and I think a counter trend, I think a rally's coming soon, and perhaps you can get a better, a stronger advance out of it for some reason. I don't know why it would do this if the market wants to pull back, but God knows, maybe some news is going to drop or something. I don't know. Let me see what does it do again? Laser scanning technology, electromechanical laser optics, LiDAR sensors. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe something will catch on again. News will drop. How is our earnings? Not too bad. At least it has earnings. I mean, a lot of these companies don't even have earnings, right? Don't even. Oh, that's revenue. Yeah, earnings is negative. So yeah, negative. It has some revenue. Yeah, I looked at the wrong field for a minute. Yeah, so I mean, I would say it's probably due for a bounce soon. Okay, next question. We can kind of keep going here. BNKK. Bonk. All right, so it's made a lower low. That's usually the death knell of these. However, let's take a look at what we have going on up here. Let's take a look here. Not sure why TradingView. Strange. It's like a glitch in TradingView for this. We'll have to use the 4-hour. I'm not sure why the daily isn't filling up. So you see the lower lows. I mean, it's obviously in a lot of trouble, and I don't know. TradingView's messing up on us. We're not going to be able to do a proper analysis for whatever reason. TradingView's just not working right. So on this one, but we'll do what I can. So there's a 3, but see, that's a full reset. So again, we're just going to try to label this and then we made lower lows. So this is going to have to come down. So it's moving in a corrective manner. We did not take out that peak here. We erased divergence there. So there's our third wave. So yes, so you're making lower lows, and you need another wave down. Right, that's the subdivision, and then this was an ABC, and that's why it looked like an impulse to us, right? Because it was an ABC, and now it's coming down in Y, and then there's your first connector there. Yep, that's that. So then there's your A, and now you need one more laid down. So now you need C. So now you need C, and now you just have to kind of chart the wave as it falls and watch divergence erase. So it looks like that's 1, 2. So it's either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rally, fail, or 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm going to go with 5 and rally and fail. So we're going to do this, looking at that. So we're going to go with here. Something like that. And then we rally and fail. All right, and then perhaps finds a low. So maybe you can short this too. Again, you know, risky short, but if you can get 3 waves, I would do that. It's going to have a massive amount of overhead resistance. Yeah, damn. In this general area here. Right, a massive amount of overhead resistance. That makes the perfect area to short on the back test. So this area, as it comes back up into here, if it does that, that's the perfect area. And of course, you'd have to close it at that level. So good luck on that. And then the next one is QSI. We had this chart. Looks like that's playing out. One more leg down. If it can survive it. We're looking for an impulse down. So we'll just kind of chart it and see where we're at on the cycle. Probably at the 4 wave. So it's gotta finish this, and then it's gonna bounce and probably extend a little bit more. So it either can just extend and finish the C leg and wipe out all the divergence here, or it's going to be a little more choppy. So I think it's obviously got more downside. It's going to have to take out all these lows. So it's got a capitulation event coming. All right. It's going to take out all these lows, and it may not survive it, but we hope it does. We hope it does. Okay, the next is ABTC. Close to a box. I think we had this idea, right? Some kind of 3-wave move in the middle area, right? It's either going to do this, this, and this, or it's already corrected the cycle here, and it's about to melt down, right? Something like right, and just continue lower. So likely to get a bounce here, but what happens after that, who knows? It's totally speculative. But there's your bounce area, 342. It's probably going to line up when Bitcoin's in its box, right? And Bitcoin is close to a box. All right, on the higher time frame, you'd like to see divergence erased. So it's got more downside. So it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet to go higher, I don't think. If it goes higher, it's still in B, and it will likely fail. And you can't rule that out where it can squeeze up to 7 and then drop. But I think it's got the ideal case is it just drops here. But if it doesn't do that and it rallies, the box is invalid, and you'll have to look for a new level to buy it later. All right, and then zone. Zone. All right, so zone, the box failed, and it also broke the low. But again, we're correcting from 0, so that doesn't really matter. So the box was an idea, didn't support. So it's still just correct in the low. So again, it could just keep going, but we want to see 3 waves. 3 waves. So you have 1, 2, 3. So you're probably close. You're probably really close. I'll look at the RSI in a minute. Yeah, 1, 2. It's really close. I can't tell you the exact moment it's going to turn. Let's look at the higher stochastics. Complete capitulation. The dailies bottomed out. The weekly way oversold. The monthly's not really relevant in this symbol because it's not enough data. Any second, any moment. I don't know. Maybe you'll wake up on Monday and be happy. any moment. It should turn at any moment. You're hoping for 2. Now, all I can say is you'll get a rally. You should get a relief rally, right, to reset the daily and weekly cycle. But then after that, who knows, right? So I'm showing 2, but I can't guarantee 3 because it could correct for as long as it wants to until it can take this high out. If it may never, because you're correcting the whole cycle from 0. Anytime you correct the cycle from 0, wave 2, the grand super cycle, the companies can go out of business. Okay, they may never make wave 3. MPW. All right, let's take a look here. MPW. All right, it's trying to build off of this low. I would be careful because this trades with the IYR, like that sector, and I'm seeing signs that sector could break down. But as long as this structure holds, we're gonna still assume it's bullish until proven otherwise. All right, so you'll know. But I'm telling you, if you break 480, you need to give up on this. It's going to double correct, right? And I am seeing signs that sector is under pressure, and they'll bring you to 435, right? We don't have a full impulse. This gotta be, you gotta be really careful here, okay? Let's take a look here. Next, Algorand. Let me see here. Let me see here. I'm just going to read what John said here. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or criticism. Let me see. I can tell you guys, if every time I would have listened, I would have had much more money to stick to. Oh, okay, so I guess it's a compliment. Yeah, okay, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I know. I'm just trying. Like I said, sometimes I do get them wrong and get them right, and I appreciate the kind words there. All right, UVIX. Yeah, I figured it was a compliment. Like, no one give me a super chat to criticize, but I couldn't tell at first if you were like mad or something. UVIX. My UVIX chart this is my chart on UVIX. So we're expecting more upside. We did not break B, but the VIX made a higher high. So I would say the UVIX will follow the VIX. So I think this will come higher. Now the structure we're in short term can be tricky because we can be in this, this could be also a connector. So it could be like W, X, and we can go back to Y. So if you're buying the UVIX, you're just buying it against 873, and I would say it's a hedge against long positions where you're almost expecting this to lose money, and you're cool with it. And then the positive is, if you do get a market crash, you're going to get paid. right, you're going to get paid, right? And the same thing with the VIX. So these are great hedges. They were great. There were really good opportunities here, but they still may be okay on this crush on Friday. Okay, because you made a higher high, so this could have been a bear trap here, right? Now, can it go lower? It always go lower. So take that information and do with it what you want to, but this is just kind of how I've been charting it for now, and we'll just see where it goes. As long as we're above this pivot, the bulls are reasserting control of volatility in the market, and this is telling you the April cycle is coming to an end or has already ended, and most investors don't even realize it yet. The VIX is telling you, like we've been saying, that the VIX has already been, like when we ended the cycle here, we're like, oh, the VIX ended the cycle. That's a huge warning sign. It's ended the cycle. It's going higher. It's been building higher highs. Okay. So the UVIX, it's a hedge, right? It's a hedge. But like I said, the UVIX is like, if you really want the markets to go to new all-time highs, you got to get the UVIX to get back below 874. You have to. If it can't get back below 874, market's got some selling coming. Some heavy selling is coming. Okay. The next question is, I did cover MSOS already. I said that it's taken another leg lower. Unfortunately, I know people are are in this, right? And we did navigate a lot of this. We try, like you see, we get these little reactions, this reaction, and it just kind of failed. This one had no setup. It was truncated a little, failed. The next area for reaction will be down here, unfortunately. And then MSOS is actually, my system would say you could short it, but there's so much event risk and potentially a 3. I don't personally recommend it unless you understand that risk and you're willing to take it. Because if you short it, I think this is one that you could wake up owing more than what's in your, owing more than what you have short. Like it'll be like you could be over 100% gain, potentially one day, because I think it's just waiting for that new positive federal news. And if that ever emerges, this thing will be up over 100% easy in one day. If it doesn't, it's just going to keep fading down, and perhaps it will fade to zero, as someone said it could. All right. And then Curl RF. We haven't looked at that. That's another one that we've seen before. Not sure where we are with that one. Well, we did get that 3. So we did get the impulse, but we'll validate that with RSI. Yeah, so I'm going with that. So now again, same thing, double correction. Looks like 5 down. See, that was the clue, by the way. You see how you had 3 and boom, you made that lower low. See, that's the clue that this was going to be a sucker's rally. See, anytime you make that lower low, that's why I never like to trade those. And because that's like, think of it, it's like a poker player showing their cards by accident. The bear shows their cards by accident. Like, oh shit, because the market's like, oh my God, there's more sellers. And then they quickly go, oh my God, I show my cards. And then it's like, oh, we trap more buyers. But we know, oh, there's more sellers out there. There's more sellers out there. And that's what happens. So we look at that lower low sign as a very important signal where it can go. And so it's just taking another leg lower. So we're going to need to finish 5 waves down. How far down it goes, tough to say. We can try to look at a box. It's in a box now. Race divergence. So, I mean, it looks incomplete, the correction. It's in a box. But I would wait, given where MSOS is and some of these other names. But do what's best for you. I would want to see a clear 4 and 5. I don't see any 4. Right? You need a 4 and 5. Once you see that 4 and 5, then I think you probably are close to being there. Okay, and then the next one is Riot. Riot did that double, right? I was kind of cautioning our members, right? We had this potential really shallow area. It could have made, you know, 5 here, right? I'm sorry, 3 here and support. But I said if we failed that low, if that low failed, it would be another wipeout down, and that's what we got. That's why we had to be aggressive with our stop loss. We could not we had to keep a tight stop because of what the potential scenario, and that's what we got. So we're in this like meltdown wave, but most of crypto is. Now the good thing on Riot is you are showing 5 waves off the low. I mean, it would be unusual to not get another swing higher. Or let me take that back. We got 3. Let me look at our RSI. Okay, we don't have peak RSI here, so that's good. We do on the higher time frame. I'm just thinking out loud. All right, so we got to be a little more cautious. So I just noticed that. So when you're in Riot, bigger picture, you have 1, 2, 3 waves. Okay, we've seen on our channel many times. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee after a big 3-wave move, right? This is the perma bear case, right? The perma bear case is 3 waves and it goes bankrupt. Now the bull case is what I have, the more likely case. But I can't tell you one is right or wrong yet until we come back and take out 23.95. So what you need to do is just you know, understand that you know, when you're buying it, not to be too cavalier. That's pretty good capitulation. We're still in the same downtrend. Here it looks like that's your first connector, so I'm just going to draw this out. Why? You see here you had 3, probably one more leg lower. One more leg lower is what I'd like to see. One more leg lower. So it's going to be hard to pinpoint the exact bottom, but I'm thinking somewhere around this area. Low 12, like 12. It's just going to be really, really tricky. Now, could it have already bottomed here? Possible. It's possible. The RSI confirms it can. It just looks incomplete based on the swing count. It looks like it's missing a swing down, you know, so I don't think it's done yet. If we start to rally any further, then we would call it done. And then this would become a super important low. Because then if that low breaks, if we bounce and this low breaks, well then the perma bear count may have to be considered more seriously. All right. Until then, we don't consider like those outlier counts because again, I can label every chart perma bear and make bear porn, and everyone will click on my links. I get the most members on YouTube join me when I say market crash in the title. I don't know if you guys know that. If I just put the words market crash, I'll usually get like 100 subscribers, even if I don't talk about a market crash, just by habit, because that's what people like are interested in. So I'm just saying, like, I know the bear point stuff, like, but it's not like realistic. So I don't want to give unrealistic like forecasts just for clickbait and just for like, you know, shock value. Even though it does seem to grow my channel, unfortunately. It just not something I do, and I just won't do it here or do it for Bitcoin. There is a lot of bear porn on Bitcoin right now, going to like 12,000 and shit like that. I just can't draw those charts. Yes, there's a valid chart that I can come up with that gets you there, but I think it's not responsible for me to show people that when it's not like that likely. But again, it is what it is. So we'll go with this count for now on Riot. All right. Algorand. Oh, I haven't looked at that in a while. Let's see if I have that charted. I wonder how long ago it's been since we've looked at that. I don't know if this chart's going to be accurate. It's going to be a long. Looks like our short box. This was a box at risk, and it looks like that definitely produced a sell-off. So this was our chart. Let's take a look. I mean, I'm not going to change it because it's obviously been working. Looks like we got to go to a higher time frame. Yeah, it looks like it's about to take that final leg lower. in a 3-leg move. So you've got one more leg down. So you're 1, 2, 3. And you got one more leg to go, I think. One more leg. So I think it's got one more leg. And then what you're looking for is divergences to all be erased. So that's going to have to plumb. See, this, I would ignore this part because it's like data issue, but I would want to take out those levels at least, and this level. So it's got a capitulation event coming. Now, the problem is this is the nice, like, conventional way for it to correct. We all know these connectors can morph into so many things, right? It can do this, this, and this. So, but if it does that, that would be short. That would be a short because you have the lower low. So if it whipsaws back up here, you can short it again. Here is like, if you don't have a position, you're better off just kind of waiting. I don't think that's the low. Let me just see if I can talk myself into that being a low. If you could break that level right there, and you haven't yet, maybe you could talk yourself into it. You would have to come down and break this low. Yeah, no, I just can't do it. I just think it's got more downside. So that's what I think is going to happen with Algorand. XRP. Trying to build off the flash crash. We had this box. It did produce a nice little reaction. But you see, we only made 3 down in that reaction and 3 up. So that's dangerous. Okay, that's dangerous. Although maybe it's 1, 2, 3. Maybe we can get 5. Let's look at the art. You know, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. We do have some divergence there. How about the 4-hour? The 4-hour. Look at that. Look at the divergence there. So yeah, so that could be a completed correction right there. That could be. Now, this is only 3 waves. There's no way you can get 5 waves. So a couple things can happen here. A couple things can happen. The first thing can happen is this. W, X, Y. Double correction. The other one is the 1, 2, 3, 4, because it would be a lead and diagonal. It'd have to be. Those are the subdivisions. 5, down, out. Or 1, 2, 1, 2, but again, I don't like the subdivision. I would have to, that would not work. That would have to be, yeah, forget that. So it's either those two things. So yeah, I think breaking this low would kind of lead me to believe it would go lower. So I think you have to be careful. Like, good, it produced a reaction. Again, this is how you trade bear markets, guys. You get the reaction, you take some profit, you put the stop here. If you break the stop, you buy it again later. And then when you break the stop, if you rally, you short it, and then you buy it later. And you just trade these waves, and you just kind of trade in the wave. And that's how you navigate these things. Now, this has a lot of distance, so it can easily double correct. It has plenty of room for a double correction. I'll give you the next level, just in case it decides to double correct. 193 is the next level. All right, so that's the next level. If it double corrects, and it would come down in there. Okay. BC Bitcoin dominance. I think that's what that is. Or is that something else? Is that another crypto or what? BTCD. There it is. All right, we're projecting this 5th wave. We're grinding higher on that. It's been working out so far. It looks like you've obviously made the first wave there. Now you're pulling back. So something like this. So again, are you in 2 still? Are you not? Highly corrective. So again, you would have to be in an end in diagonal. This would have to be an end in diagonal to finish 5. So it's tough to say. I think if you come back and take out this low here, it has a chance of double correcting or going lower, but I don't think it will. I think it's going to finish up like we have here. All right, and then the next question is AMC. AMC's been melting down. I know it's just one of those speculative stocks that's just being thrown away, and looking at it right now, I think it's due for a relief rally pretty soon. Pretty soon. Is it the bottom? Is it the bottom? You know, if you look at it, we already broke the low, right? We've already broke this low. So we've made A, and now the only hope it can make C, like it's either going bankrupt, out of business, or it's going to make C one day. And the only way it's going to make C is a whipsaw. So you're going to need to finish this 3-wave move, which means you have 1, 2, 3 here. But you see this Y leg, you don't have a big bounce yet. So more than likely, you're going to get a big bounce, and it's going to fail. And I think you're due that big bounce soon. So I think this big bounce is going to emerge soon, but it's likely to fail. And then it may have its shot to find a load to whipsaw back up, I think it's going to make a big move, and then bam. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes back to back test all that overhead resistance here, and bam. And then it either survives or goes to 0. And if it survives, it can build out of that. If it doesn't, it goes to 0. Equity holders wiped out. So it's this tough one. I know it's a tough one to hear, or maybe you're shorting it. The further down we go, the more dangerous it is to short it. But I think it's due some kind of relief rally. I think it's due a relief rally very soon. Okay? That's what I think. But that really is likely to fail. Right? You can just look at the wave yourself. 1, 2, 3, and you need a big bounce, and we don't have a big bounce. Wait, is that the big bounce right here? I don't think so. I don't think that was big enough. Right? I think when we look at this bounce, it was a 4-hour, came up to the high here. Let's look at the daily cycle. It may have been a daily cycle reset. Higher. Yeah, see how you pulled down and the daily cycle went higher? Here you've pulled down. The daily cycle has not pulled back up. It's going to need to pull back up. The daily cycle will need to come up, but stay below this peak. Can't go above it. And then fail. So I think it's due a relief rally. Oh, by the way, look at the daily cycle. Look at the hidden bullish divergence right there. You see that? See, that's what I'm saying. It's due a relief rally. You see that? It's due a relief rally. All right. This is what I'm thinking. But that I do think that rally will fail. It will fail. Okay. And again, I give that update to my basic pro members all the time on AMC. EONR. All right, it's pushing the boundaries on this. Again, it could be a flat from this peak, which would bring us lower, back down to like 35 cents. I like the higher high on it. So I think you still just kind of stay with it. So maybe any moment, any second, you would hope. If this low breaks, it's a flat. Right, and then of course it will go lower, but it would probably respect this low. There is your 4 here, so perhaps it will go down between the 4 and the 2, like we see many times before. So just understand that may happen. Now, it looks like 3 connector 3. So if you want to buy it, buy it. Put your stop. I would put your stop right here at 42.5. I mean, literally, this is almost a no risk trade. Of course, there's gap down risk. There always is gap down risk, but I mean, maybe it'll work out. Okay. Next is Monero XMR. Yeah, I'm surprised I don't get asked about this a lot. I don't know the last time I was asked about this coin. It's been a long time, I think. Looks like it's did continue higher. I think our last forecast was down here, obviously. So it is moving higher as we expected it to. We'll check the RSI out. Let's get rid of that for now. Yeah, see the divergence. So yeah. So there you go. It has the lower low. That's a dangerous thing. Like it's like Zcash. Like it's got a lower low. So all these lower lows. I mean, we knew this was going to ramp up as a connector, but now it's tough. If it could take out this peak at 517, then we have to go with a more bullish interpretation of the overall chart. Okay. Right, I mean, no one would argue with that count. And then this, so this was either A, B, and then this was the flat I was worried about. Right, that's how I had it originally labeled, which means it's about to get annihilated. And if that happens, you know, that would have to stay below that peak. But if we take that peak out, well then that's negated, or it makes some other convoluted connector here. Let's look at how we bottomed on this bottom. Now we did a risk divergence on that bottom, but not here. And let me see this wick here. See that? That peak is not this wick. So yeah, I think we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I think we'll give this, even though this bottom wasn't ideal, I think we're gonna just label it bullish. Okay. Let me see if that low held a risk divergence. Yeah, it's a little bit higher, but the RSI resets here. So sometimes the exchanges don't have all the trading data, all that. So I am putting the low there though, based on the RSI. Even though technically on this exchange it's a little truncated, I'm okay with that. Again, it's not exact science. I just doing what based on the RSI. I think that's the proper way to label it. And so now we're in this kind of fifth wave. And when this ends, it would come back down here to the 4. So what you're hoping for is divergence gets erased and you break out. Take that peak out. If it can't do that, well then it will have an epic meltdown soon, at some point. Right now, looks like to me, 1, 2 there. Something like that. All right. So that's what I'm thinking from Monero at the moment. And this one looks a little better than Zcash. Like the structure, this part of the structure. Okay. Gold. So gold, I always give to my members on my $5 a month membership. So gold's always a good one that we do, and again, I'm worried that people got caught up in a potential suckers rally, but it is still too early to tell that. But right now, gold corrected in 3 waves, is up in 3, but this type of sharp reversal is typical of how a second leg lower begins. I think early next week will be key to determine that. If we actually make an impulsive move down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then I think our destiny is set for this next box. Okay. Now after that box, we can react. We would expect a reaction. We could go to new highs, or it could fail again, but we would get a reaction. And depending on the RSI and the degree, it will either be extending the 5th wave, or we would call 3 in, and we would put this 4 here, one or the other. So gold's pretty straightforward. We do expect more upside in gold in the future. It's just in a correction. I do think it's likely that we make a double correction, but not guaranteed. Bull is another one here. Bull. Bull, I have charted. It's kind of double. It's kind of correcting. Let me look at this. I have to just change that to an ABC real quick here. So there is a new box on it. Again, you're playing for, again, it's either going bankrupt, it's either going to zero and going bankrupt, or it's going to do this. So I can't tell you. It can go, these stocks can go bankrupt. They can go to zero. But this is, so it's close. The box is at 847, but we want to make 5 waves down, and I don't see a 4 and 5 yet. I don't see a 4 and 5 yet, which is what we need, which is going to get you to the box, right? So it's a close. We're still, I mean, if you look, it hasn't corrected that cycle. It's due a bigger bounce on the higher time frames. It has to be. What's interesting is look at the bullish, hidden bullish divergence on the daily. There. Lower price, higher stochastic. Weekly, way oversold. Monthly's irrelevant, not enough data. So it's due a bounce. It's due a bigger bounce than we may expect, right? So somewhere in there. After that bounce, it's going to be tough to say where the market head takes it. LSE, Litigation Capital Management. LITR. There it is. Big picture. So anytime we start with the monthly, well, not a lot of data on the monthly cycle, but the weekly we can look at. So again, very 3 waves, right? It's a 3-wave move. So you can't, so you'd have to label the peak here and you're in a flat, right? There's no other way to label it other than a corrective move and it's going bankrupt. So I think looking at this, we're going to label it as a flat. The peak was here. You know, came up 1 and now you're in a flat. And it kind of supports that. So now you got to kind of play this flat out a little bit. Right? You're in a box now. Basically to 0. So basically you're buying it against 0. And this looks like 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there. So it's extended. So 1, 2, 1, 2. That only looks like 3 down. Maybe we'll call that like a lead-in diagonal. I'll have to let's look at the daily cycle and just see if that makes sense. Yeah, I think you could call it an impulse for now. I just want to make sure it's impulsive and look, and it is. And now it's going down, right? So now you have to just trace the waves and see if you can catch it. Looks like you need a bounce and maybe another low. Something like that. This bounce could be, see how long that bounce is right here? So this bounce could be super long. So it could do something like that. All right. So I would be looking for something like this now, but it's probably due a significant rally, but that rally is likely to fail. So don't fall in love with it. Okay, then the next, we'll see here. CNIKF. Canada Nickel. So right away when we see the lower low, it's a broken chart. So I always tell people when you see the lower low, just throw it away. Because whatever rally is going to happen, it's likely to fail. So you don't want to own a stock because your upside's capped. Whether it says it has nickel in the name or not, that's the problem. That's the problem. Now the good thing is short term is showing more upsides coming. But the problem with the lower low is it's doomed at some point. It's doomed. I just don't know where that point merges, right? That point. So right now we have 5 down, and so it's rallying higher, right? It's going to rally higher. So, but let me look at it more closely. Let me understand this better here. 3, yeah. So it made the whipsaw up here. So we made 3 up, and then we broke that low here. Yeah, so it's moving. So here's the problem with this one. I guess I was too bearish to start out. I should have looked at it again. It's moving in 3 waves, and we know sometimes it can do this. So I would stick with it until proven otherwise, just in case. Let me see. Did that break the? No. See, it held the low. So yeah. So I take that back. I think I looked at this before. For some reason, this seems familiar. So yeah, I would stick with this one. I would stick with this one for now until we see something develop that's more worrisome. Stick with it for now. It's obviously in 3 of 3. Yeah, so it's obviously in 3 of 3 land. So stick with it for now. Maybe it's making the first 4 here on the shorter time frame. Yeah, that's probably the first 4. So maybe there's a dip buy. So guys, maybe there's a dip buy here merging, especially if the miners. I'm just gonna delete that, get out of the way there. Especially if the miners are gonna double correct. If they're gonna double correct, then this is likely to, and this seems a little shallow for 4, like not long there. 107, 104, so right there. So there's your dip buy right there for 4, or if you get lucky, another 1 too. All right, so let's look at it from this point of view, and just kind of we'll keep an eye on it and track it. Yeah, I think I've seen this before, this chart before for some reason. I must have looked at this somewhere at some point. Okay, Loon MF. This one definitely played out as expected. Probably the 3 there, the 4 there. Probably still in 5, but I bet it erased divergence. 3 of 5, yeah, so 1 more high. So I'm looking for 1 more high. And maybe it's already made it, and we just like see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just say it's already made it because most of the sector's already correcting. But it's I would never short it. So if it is done, it'll pull back down to somewhere around here and keep going. This one looks really good. Right, this is one, we must have charted this one. Yeah, this one looks really good. Damn. I mean, you guys that are messing around in some of these other like penny stocks and stuff, I mean, these are the charts you need to be messing around in. Like this pullback here, if this pulls back to $12, yeah, we're gonna keep an eye on that one. All right, Shopify. We called the peak. It looks like, yeah, maybe we're off by a swing. You know, it's always tricky to get it exactly perfect. But we had the right idea this 4 was coming. There's your connect. So this one has a failed cycle. A lot of failed cycles across tech, right? Now, a conventional correction would just take us down to the next level, but the market is anything but that. So I will, if it were to just nosedive next week, 125, 103 is your target, okay? That's your target for 4. All right, let's look at the perma-bear chart just to make sure there's no huge flat. So perma-bear chart, we have 3 up. Could it be a flat from this peak? It's not impossible. It's would be super highly unlikely. Let's look at the monthly. The only way that would play out, the monthly would have to collapse, and it's got a long way. Well, I wouldn't say that long. And you see how we're, yeah, and we're not. So what I would do, what I would say is, if Shopify breaks 103 or 100, if Shopify does not bounce here, or just rally early, or make this 5. If it doesn't make this 5 and we grow through 100, then that perma bear chart is in play, a flat off of the all-time high. Boom, 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 and that is in play. But this is the likely area. Unlikely, likely is this path, and again, this would be an ABC correction. And again, this could do a lot of things here. It could, if it whipsaws back up, our target moves. And then you can short it, right? You can short it until you get to this level. So now that you made the lower low, if you want, like if it bounces in 3 waves, short it, right? If it does this on Monday, bounces back up here to this box, short in this box. Okay, because see that nice beautiful 3-wave bounce, you want to short that with the lower low, right? And then close it down here. So there's that. So just understand that that's the strategy. So you can short that box. Maybe we nosedive down, but I'd keep all your options open. It looks very impulsive, and this looks like 1, 2. Maybe it's 1, 2 up here. All right. Then SAN. This is one of these international. Is this one of these Argentinian banks or something we had? I don't know what this one is. Right, obviously it's this. It's in 3. Right, I mean, this is a very easy, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, and you see, there's no way 4 is to be seen, so this is going to grind higher, right? This is just going to keep grinding higher. Now maybe that's the first wave 4 right there. Let's check it out. Yeah, maybe we can even put that as it, but how deep? That went too deep. So I'd label it this way. So you're making your 4s now, your 4s, something like that. So it's going higher. So dips supported in 3 waves, more upsides expected, and I'm not sure why people want to buy it, but they are buying it. Okay, that one's pretty straightforward. Lunar was another one of these speculative names that just kind of out of favor, although there's been a lot of space talk lately. We're gonna have to put servers in the moon and shit like that, so maybe that'll get people excited again. I have a box here on it at 451. I personally won't recommend it until we get to that area. Now, yeah, I'm looking at this, and as an ABC. Why did I label it that way? Yeah, why did I label it that way? Yeah, it must have moved around or something. Again, I'm not sure when the last time I updated this chart, because I haven't looked at it in a while. Let me see where I got that box from. Yeah, right here. Sorry, so I'm looking for that. So I think it just, the chart evolved. I didn't update the label, so it didn't make sense for a minute. So maybe something like this. And again, we only see 3 up, so it may never make this swing. So I show it. But I think this is the area a reaction will happen. And then after that, you either will go to 0, bankruptcy, or it will do that pump. So I think that's the area that I'd rather wait for. I'd rather wait for this area to get tagged before I go back in on it. Okay, PSTG. So another one that seems to kind of worked out the way we expected. Just where are we on our cycle? Probably make this 5 here. Make that 3 here. We'll check it out in a minute. Race divergence. So yeah, we're going to update the chart. It's extending. And it's extending. So hopefully this worked out. I'm sure you were probably the one that asked me about this a while ago. So we expect more upside as it erases divergence and continues to extend. So dips are buyable in 3 waves. Let's look at this wave real quick and see. Yeah, it's the end of the cycle. I don't see a connector. So it could end. It could be a crash correction. It could even be another 1-2 for all we know. What did he got? What do they store? What's their storage? What are they? Data storage, batteries. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one too, because that's kind of a theme, right? We see that theme. We'll keep an eye on that one. Okay, going parabolic almost. Okay, and then SDF, how much upside on Xterra? Like we always talk about, I never like talking about how much upside because I always like to talk about how much can we afford to lose. But upside potential, I mean, when you look at it, you see probably finished your correction here. At least we hope we did, yeah. But see that move higher barely is impulsive. So that's dangerous. Now, what you're hoping for is either a leading diagonal is going to form here, or it's the subdivisions are buried within the wave and we just don't see the 5 waves. So let's just give it the benefit of the doubt. So clearly this cycle ended with this bounce. So you need to hold this low at all costs. If not, then this is a bearish bounce and it's going to break this low. And then there's no more chart space left for it, right? It's just going to go melt down to 0. So you need to hold this low. So the upside potential here, now this looks like 5 off the low. That's good. So that's a clue that maybe it's going higher. It's going higher. So if it's going higher, right, where's the most reasonable upside, right? So if it's going to, remember, we can get the 3, no guarantee for the 5. So that means we could see 37.74, 44.36. So that may be a more, that's like more of a realistic target somewhere in this area, right? Because if you can make this 3, that's the 3. It could collapse there. Now, if it makes a 4 and a 5 and does something like this, well, then it's likely to take this peak out and make a whole nother cycle higher, right? And that, you know, that would be, you know, 106. So I don't know. I don't like how that wave looks off the low, but I can't, but I think right now you've got this reaction. You're holding this low. It looks 5 waves. So all the signs point higher. All right, AS, American Sport. What's going on here? So we had, you see how we had this bullish 1 2 1 2. What it did, unfortunately, was a 1 2 3 4 5. So it didn't give us the uber bullish count. It gave us a more conventional count. It is what it is, and it's making a flat off of this peak. We got a pretty good RSI reset with bullish divergence there, but now you've erased it. So a bounce is due at any moment. Could it be V-bounce? The only risk you have is you didn't get to the wave 4. So there's a risk of a double correction. Actually, maybe even one more. Again, I look at the subdivisions. It looks like this may be missing another swing down. 1 2 3 4 5. I think it's missing another swing down. If I put that there, I don't really see 5 waves. That's 3. So I think you get to this point and then it bounces and it could go lower. Tough to say. All right, and then XBI has been doing okay. Well, I haven't looked at it recently, but I know a few weeks ago we saw it break out. Yeah. So XBI, boom, 5 waves, crash, entering 3 of 3 land, and we'll just kind of label the waves and see where we're heading with it. Probably finishing the first 5-wave move up. Yeah. So this cycle's about to end. It's about to pull back again. This is about to pull back again. Now this looks impulsive. And indicates is biotech the future? The future. I don't know. I guess it is. I guess that's what this chart is saying. Biotech is going to get a bid in the future. Now, here, this pullback. Now, the question is, could it be a bearish 3-wave move? So we have to look at the higher time frames. So yeah, that peak took out all those peaks. That's not good, but the weekly is most important. See that? So there is a perma-bear setup here. Perma-bear setup. There's possibility. It's this, and that. What it means is, and then we double correct. Wouldn't that be nasty? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, that double correction, what would it look like? 48.26. I can't say that can't happen. Okay, so when we start to pull back on this wave, you know, you have to think about this scenario in as you are trading. So how would that emerge? It would be this pullback would be really, really severe early, right? So if we start to correct this wave with a sudden, like kind of a free fall, boom, like that, down to 98, like before you know it, I'd be worried about that. If it's kind of more of a gentle correction, then I wouldn't be so worried. Now, the ideal case is you make 4 and 5, and then you don't have to worry about this, right? You make 4 and 5. So, unfortunately, I can't. The perma-bear count is a valid count, right? So, does it go buy lab down? Lab down right now, and you're gonna make a fortune? Maybe, maybe. But you'd have to guess it right, and you would be guessing. What if you're wrong? You're guessing into a 3 of 3. So, I think right now the best thing to do is just expect the cycle to end and correct with the rest of the market, and then if it starts out and with a lot of intensity, then I would be worried that this was a trap here. Just but for right now, I wouldn't be, You know, I would say there's always a perma bear count, by the way. There's always seems to be. But this is the most realistic count for now. If the data changes, we'll change. If it changes, we'll change. Let's look at the monthly. So you're not in risk of the perma bear move. The perma bear move, this line will have to break. So the perma bear count, if the monthly breaks this line, then if we break this line and we don't have a 4 and a 5 yet, well then it's going to 48. It's going to 48. But I think we'll go with this for now. The specific subdivisions. Either 5's done and it's going to do a flat here, or it's got more extension. It's not finished yet. Right? 1, 2, 1, 2. So I given where the market is, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a flat and it's just going to kind of pull back. But here's your way forward. See, this is where it needs to find support. Right there. You go through that down here, then I would be worried. But I think it's topping. I think it's close to topping in the cycle. Like I said, I can't give you advice on MSOS on like how to trade it. That's just kind of crosses the line, unfortunately. I wish maybe one day I'll get my credentials and I can give financial advice, and I am going to look into how to do that, because I definitely have the degrees and everything else. But I can't give you financial advice. All I can say is a relief rally likely. I mean, that's pretty damn oversold. There is a little bit of hidden bullish divergence right here on the 45-minute. So, I like that candle. You see that candle on the 15-minute? That hammer? Maybe if you can open, 321, you can build something off of this candle. If it's moving in 3 waves, it could bounce back up to 383. If it's moving in 3 waves, it could bounce back up to 383. And I don't want to get. I'm not telling you what to do. I can easily be wrong, but it could do that, right? The other count is it makes a 5, right? Or the other count is it capitulates. Boom. So I suspect this. Something like that. $15-minute is oversold. The 45-minute hidden bullish divergence oversold. The 4-hour hidden bullish divergence, but still no signs of a reversal yet, but it's getting there, and the daily shows more downsides coming. So I think the 15 and 45-minute do show a bounce is coming, but the daily shows that bounce is likely to fail. PRPH. Three down. And there's a connector, and it's could be a triangle here forming. Oh, we had to zoom out. There's a lot more data here on this. Well, we would just call flat from this peak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A, B, C. So we'll just this one we'll just call flat from this peak. So we just need to find an impulse down. Looks easy enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. I bet that's 3, 4, 5 right there, but we'll look at it close. You know, take a little closer look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's your 4. So you got 5. So what you want is 5. You want to show bullish divergence here. If you erase divergence, then it's another 1, 2, and it's over. So you need like a little more down. I think you need one more low with bullish divergence on that higher time frame, so you can see the 5, and you would see it given how big this C leg is. And then maybe you get a pump out of this thing, right? Or you get, you know, by some miracle 3. So I think you have one more low coming. Maybe 11 cents. It looks like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. It probably is not going to go very far. It may just pierce it. Now, would you put the 4? I don't think I'll put the 4 there. Yeah, so you put it up here. I'll put it up there. In fact, we probably should put the 3 right around here. Oh, that's right. We could put it here. Just have this like a run-in flat. All right. Vonovia. On Xterra. All right, let's see. It's been a brutal correction depending on where you end this 5. You see how it almost erased divergence there? It did on the week. So I think it's close enough to call this the bottom. So it was a nasty correction, a double. I think you really have to have it there looking at this. So yeah, I think it's probably finished. Or you'll get, or at least you'll get a bigger rally out of it. It looks like to me we have to put the 5 on that peak. So just kind of have to tweak it a little bit. And you had some kind of nasty double correction. Now, there's a couple things to look at this. Now, the weekly showed the divergence erased here, but not the daily. So there is a possible. Now you see how you have 1, 2, 3. You see you don't have that. So maybe we're a little premature. Maybe we need to just be more realistic and know that, okay, we do have one more swing down, because you see 3, we need that, and then that would maybe convincingly take this divergence away, which is sort of missing. So yeah, maybe one more swing down would do it. So I wouldn't call the bottom just yet. I do think it holds this low. The good news. All right, RAF. Raiffeisen Bank. All right, Raiffeisen Bank here. To type this in. Yeah, you're gonna have to put the symbol in that one. I'm not able to pull it up for some reason. So that's something you're just gonna have to type the symbol in. I can't find it. All right, put the symbol in the chat so I can pull it up. I just can't find it. Newegg. All right. Let's take a look at where we are with it. Let's kind of get rid of some of these subdivisions so we can see it properly. It's gonna be really choppy, as you can see. Not something probably all the easy money's over. It's probably in some kind of distribution phase. Any one of these fours can turn into another two. So it's probably trying to turn here and make another attempt at the high. So something like this is what we're looking at. Okay. Yeah, something like that. All right, MLGO. Microalgo continuing to melt down as expected. 1 2 1 2. So this is obviously a risk and divergence, right? I warned that this could happen. You see that? So all these were not fours, right? So this is the danger of these small stocks, right? They could just go to zero. They could just keep going down and down, especially the ones that make lower lows. So just know they're very, very dangerous to own unless you're shorting them. So I don't know, again, if that's the reason. That's probably not the right look. As you can see, it's just, and this is the opposite of like a bull market. It can just keep extending until it just extends, out of existence. So this has got a lot more downside left. So this is one that now it's clearly, obviously, you need to short this in three-wave bounces. It's again, I don't know what's going on with the company, but it's obviously, it's a failed, it's a sinking ship, unfortunately. And again, the lower low was the clue here, that this was eventual, this inevitability was coming. It's just sad, yeah. It's just look at that acceleration. It's likely to take this level out soon, in this level, so it's got more downside. So if you can get a three-wave bounce, I would short this now for the foreseeable future. All right, AEVA. All right, so this one double correct it. Let's see if it erased divergence. Not yet. So it's still it's in the middle of a double correction. Again, you have like a three-wave move, a connector. And there's your really shallow connector right here. So again, it's got to make another swing down. And you're noticing this is the theme in most of the market right now. It's like the market's selling off, but it's not finished. It's not finished correcting yet. Right, and it needs to stay above these levels. But it's got to take that peak out on divergence. So more downsides are likely to happen as this plays out. You see how you have 1 2 3 shallow connector. You're going to need a bounce and another low. So this is going to bounce soon. This is probably do a relief rally. And it's likely to fail. Okay. MN, MD, MindMed, MiniMed. Right, this one's doing pretty good. Building off its low. 1 2 3 4 5, a 3, a 4, and a 5. And we're correcting the first cycle. It went deep enough, so that could be the bottom. I'll look at that later. So yeah, so it's some kind of one. Oh, we have an X. So yeah, so we go back and label it properly. So A. So we're in some kind of B wave. We expect another swing higher soon. It's moving in three waves, so we'd like to see more upside. Now, the B could be over. So it just depends. If it doesn't, there's a box here. There's a box. at 934, 843. And then that could be B. So it's possible. I can't tell you if it's done. It could be because it's went deep enough. If it does, it'll do that. And then we're looking for another swing higher, at least. And perhaps this turns into a lead-in diagonal off the low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's a new bull market. GE, I think we called the peak on that 3 or 4 weeks ago, but let's see how it's doing. I'm calling it a 3 right now. So it's a very dangerous area. So a bigger pullback is coming for maybe a top in process or a 1, 2, 1, 2. We are correcting. So see, this took almost a year. So this 4 could take a while play out. This was the target we've always had on it. It was hit. Now, bigger picture, it looks pretty. I remember this company seemed like Intel would never come back, and somehow it reinvented itself with all these spin-offs and things. I wonder if I have that labeled right. Yeah. So there it is. So that's the count. So something like this, I'm thinking. So it probably still goes higher over time, but I don't know if you're going to get gains like that anymore. Now you might. It can always keep extending. That's the thing. You might. I mean, I definitely wouldn't hesitate to buy it in 3 waves until I see the trend really start to break down, because it does show like it needs more upside. But I think this cycle from April is over or about to end. And that could produce a pullback back down here. See? I mean, it's just ready. It's way overextended, like it was back here. So yeah, I mean, it's time. It's out of time. It's been a great run. It's out of time. It needs a proper correction. Is coming. Okay. And we see that in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Burford Capital on LSE. Next buy level stop out. Only 3, 5. So see, this looks like, well, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. So maybe that's 3, 2. Yeah, see, that's 3. So it's 3 and 3. Remember, you're buying the middle area. So this chart doesn't show a clear path to new highs. So it could be this, right? Or it could be building off a lean-in diagonal. And if it is, it needs to rally like right now. Or it could be in the connector still. It could do so many things. So I mean, honestly, I can't recommend buying it. But if you want to know the next level, you see I have 3 and a connector. So the next level for it to hit, where it has a chance to rally again, is probably right about where it is now. So that's it. So this is the area where it could rally again in this box. And there's no guarantee. It can make 5. It can make another 3 waves and come back to the highs. So if it's going to rally, it's got to be here. And the stop out area would be 457. If it breaks 457, it's likely making the bigger double, and it's coming back down to these lows. So we need to see a bounce. We need to see a bounce. And the weekly's pretty oversold. So is the monthly. So I think it's due a substantial rally, like maybe a multi-year rally. So I don't know if there's enough sellers left to take it down that far without a more substantial rally. And that may give you your 5th wave that you're maybe that may give you this right? And once you get that, then of course it can melt down and come out. But at least that gives you a confirmation that the cycle is good again. Okay. Yeah, I'll look at the Grayscale products again. The Grayscale is kind of like just trade in what's in front of your face, and then let the news just find itself later. LTCN, you know, had a box for a reaction. We got the reaction. Okay, 1, 2, 3. You got the reaction. Now this reaction can fail, and if it fails, you gotta let it go. Stop out, close your trade, and then you can try to buy it again later, without emotion, without emotion. But when you do get these reactions, you got to take some profit because you just don't know if it's going to happen. Now, of course, we don't want that to happen. We hope it doesn't happen. I hope this is too. I really do. It looks impulsive. I mean, could it do that? Maybe. So why not? Let's just keep going with it. Why mess up a good thing? Now, this is impulsive. Maybe the correction is this, right? It could be something like that, and then it makes another leg lower, right? W, X, Y. So the impulse, well, it makes me feel good. It doesn't make me feel that good looking at this leg. So, but we got a reaction, right? The system produced a reaction. Now the other charts we can look at, BCHG. Let's look at that one. Now this one also produced a reaction and it failed. It made a lower low. So the reaction failed, right? So it's going to take a double, right? It's got to take a double correction down. But this one has a lot more white space, right? A lot of white space to do that. So let's take a look at the next level. Yeah, so the next level on this one is 291. So I'll draw another box. So when we get there, I'll be telling our elite members to buy this or recommend. I can't tell you to do anything. I'll say it's a trade idea. But there's a box right there. Okay, there's a box. Okay. The next one is, let's see, LTCM. We talked about that. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, so this one doesn't look as good. Looks like it wants to go lower, and you got to be careful with LTCM. It doesn't do a double. It doesn't do a double, right? If it were to do a double, then the next level we would label it as a WXY. So the next level would be at 601.507. So that's the next box. That would be the double area. And we would that would be the connector, and it would double. Having to hold, I don't know why I drew that there. It has to hold 553, so I probably should draw that up a little bit more there. Let me just look at that. Yeah. Okay. All right. MSTX. So MSTX, you know, like I said, it's Defiance daily target 2x. Is that what you want? It looks pretty bad. I think it would go lower. Looking at this graph, looks like an ABC here. So I think you just have to chart the wave down. There's really no other way of doing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and you're in the 3 of 3. So it's in the teeth. You're in the teeth of the sell-off right now. I would wait for a 4 and 5, and then maybe you can get a buy there. Okay. Bitcoin Cash. Had this in this flat. I want it one more leg down. Right, one more leg down. In a diagonal flat. Something like that. But let's maybe that 4 is like this. Yeah, you know what? We'll do that. We'll do the 4 as a triangle here. A, B, C, D, E. I think it's got another push lower. I still think it's missing another push lower. Okay. I think we just saw that in BCHG supports that with the lower low. Solana's likely to go to these lower levels. It's going to be really hard to pinpoint the low on Solana. I mean, we are trying to chart the wave. It needs to raise divergence on the higher time frame. It hasn't done that yet. So I think it's still premature to think it's finished. I'd be careful it's not in a 1-2 of C right now. I think you have to be careful it's not 1, 2. So SOLT will go much low, right? It will go lower. Now again, I know you people like to correlate. It's impossible. Like I can't just do the math in my head. Like, but as you can see, it's likely to go lower. And I mean, I think the math would take it to below sub 5. I think it would do that, but the math won't be exact. So you're just gonna have to wait and be patient. Maybe there's a Fibonacci level on this mess. Yeah, it's way down there. So, but you can see how you had this big bounce. You're going to need another kind of bounce here to merge, I think, to finish it properly and fail. So what does that do with the coin? Let's go look at our coin forecast. That's this bounce, I bet. It's either that bounce or this 4. So either it's going to do 2 and it's going to have a big 4 bounce, or a convoluted 4 and make 5, or it's going to bounce big here and trap a bunch of people. And then that's going to, then if that happens, you're not going to get $5 on that. You're not going to get 5. It's going to bounce. It's going to create space, right? It's going to bounce. It's going to do that. And then it's going to probably find a low around 720. So it all depends on the next, I guess, the next few days, what happens with this. If you get this big bounce and 2, and then this is 4, well then you're going to get 5. It's not going to go that far down. If you don't and it just melts down, then perhaps the bounce comes later, and then you can go lower. I think you go lower that way, a lot lower. But you'll have to decide and figure it out. So I don't think sub 5s, no. So my question is sub 5s, no. I don't think it's going sub 5s, no. I do not think that. All right, MDB. MDB, let's look at that. MDB. All right, let's kind of fill this out again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably still in 3 there. Let's again we'll look at the R size and everything. Yeah, see, we're still in 4. We're still in the correct. We're still in the cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, we could even still be in wave 3. Let's label it properly, because this one's tricky. This is why sometimes I can eyeball them, but this one I'm going to need to do it. One, 2. One, 2, 3. So yeah, it's got more upside based on this count. So the question is going to be, when it makes this 3, what's going to happen to it? Because when it makes that 3, remember, there's no guarantee for the 4 and 5. We always say that, right? So when it makes this 3, what's going to happen? And I don't think this is going to be a very big 5. I think it's just going to be a very marginal new high. So when it makes that, it's either going to be a corrective bounce that corrected this leg, and it's going essentially to 0, or it is will make its 4 and 5. Let's see here. So from here, you definitely corrected the whole cycle, but you see how you had divergence there on the higher time frame? That's not good. That's not good. That's a risk. So I think you got to be careful. So I don't know. I don't know. Now your specific question was, is it in a monthly, weekly, larger triangle? Okay. Now if it's in a triangle, it can be 3 waves. So that's a great question. Is it in a triangle? 3, 3, 3, 3. It might be. It might be. Now triangles aren't usually in 2 waves, but they are in connector waves. Okay. Maybe it's a triangle off of oh, you know what? I was looking at it. There is this high is lower. So maybe, yeah, I would say not a triangle, because triangles, in my way I do it, is not in 2 waves. Not in 2 waves. 4 waves, X waves. Now if it's an X wave and this is still in 2, yes. If it's, but I think I looked at it again. I just saw that this isn't lower than this peak. So then it's okay. So then I think it's okay. So I would label it this way, just like this. And then we'll label it this way. Looks like I lost one of my waves. I have to put back. Okay, so this is the key right here when we get this 4 and 5. If we don't get it, then there's a chance that it, then you know what, I would have to call it a triangle and a connector, like you said. You know, some kind of A, B, C, D. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go do this again here. A, B, C, D, E. And then bam, wipe out. So yeah, that's what I would revert to. So if we don't get that 5, then it's going to be a W, X, Y, and then this is going to be a triangle. Just like you said, boom, 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 something like that, and then meltdown. So yeah, we'll find out soon enough. We'll find out soon enough. Let's draw the lines and keep an eye on that. Get rid of that. All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Okay, Palantir. Palantir, our elite group members, we called the day of the peak, and it's seemed to be the case. We ran out of count. The count ran out. We were counting it the whole way up, and I was like, there's no more. And sure enough, it's starting to melt down. We also have a lower low, so that means more downside's likely, and you can short it in 3 waves. Okay. Is it the top of the tops? Well, if this 5 is the top of all tops, we'll be going back down to 58 down here in a horrific collapse. But it will survive to live another day for sure. So let's look at the higher time frames. The weekly cycle wants to melt down so bad, but it hasn't. But once that breaks, I think that's conclusive that the cycle's over. And the monthly just rolled over for the first time. So there's the warning signs are flashing red. Danger, danger, danger longs. And you made a lower low this week. So do with that information what you please. I can't say for sure it's the top. Maybe we go a little lower and the bubble continues. The mania continues. But I think it's unlikely. So Michael Burry probably is going to make some money on this if he had the conviction, and because we don't know when he put that position on. He may put it on down here. He may have already folded. We don't know exactly. I think I covered everyone's super chat. I really appreciate it, guys. I'm out of time. I'm going to do another live stream tomorrow night. I have some time. Let me just kind of go through the verbal comments in here, the word there, you know, and just quickly look at that. The 4-year cycle, I mean, it usually follows the 4-year cycle because it kind of follows, you know, the Elliott wave theory, which resembles that. I would just say that, you know, I don't subscribe to timing models. Like I don't factor that into my analysis, but I can't deny that it doesn't work either. It's probably part of my my trading toolkit that I probably need to expand a little bit more on and learn. But I do think the cycle analysis, some timing analysis, is valid. I do think though, if you believe in the 4-hour cycle, time's up. It's time for the bear market. I think they're out of time. All right. Thanks again. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Again, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read your comments and super chats at the same time. And hopefully the audio is okay. Don't be mad at yourself. Everyone loses money, guys. I mean, I lose money trading, right? And I say the solution to trading for me is more positions, smaller sizes, right? That's the only reason I got Zcash, guys. How did I get Zcash? Because I had 25 open trades at the same time, but a little bit of money in all 25. So I took on Zcash, but you saw it can turn into 10x, 3. So those are the ones that really help you win, and then you can add to those winners as they pull back, right? So my only suggestion is smaller position size, more positions in a variety of sectors, and then you're spreading your bets around and you're investing like how you would see an executive would invest in an R&D company for big pharma. They don't put all their eggs in one like molecule that's not even in preclinicals. No, they have like 50, you know, big pharma has like 30 or 40 things going in preclinical, you know, and in development and partnerships, and then those get funded. And so like you got to spread your bets around and find what works. If you're picking only 3 or 4, the odds are against you're going to pick wrong, right? You're not going to choose the right ones. So if you spread your bets around, and then when you see like a cycle, like a 45-minute cycle ends, you can see, okay, ALB went up 15%, right? So I have all these trades on, and ALB went up 15% in 3 or 4 days, but all my other stocks really didn't. I better buy more of that one, right? That why is that one running? I don't know. I don't care. No, and then Bristol Myers collapsed 5%, but rest of the farm. Okay, I'm getting rid of that effing thing, right? Dump it. And that's how you got to manage your portfolio, guys. That's how I do it, and I'm always catching the runners that way. And then the ones that go up 10, you know, or more, I'm in them because I've spread my bets around early. It's the only solution. But then of course you lose, and if you lose, since your position size is small, and over many, you won't really sweat it. It won't be a big deal. But if you have 3 or 4 and 25% is in one and you lose, that's painful. And believe me, I used to make those I used to do that. You can't do that. It doesn't work. It never. Again, that's my idea. My strategy may not work for you. It may, or you may disagree, and that's fine. It's just what's worked for me and makes me money. So that's why I keep doing it this way. All right. I'm not sure what's wrong with your audio, man. I think no one else is. No one's audio is messed up, man. So, and if you want a refund, I don't administer the money like YouTube. You're gonna have to go to YouTube, and I don't even know how to do that. So sorry about that. You missed my super chat. It's about BTC, third from the top under CCJ. Let me just go back and look at that. Bitcoin potentially a 5 wave move from. I think I looked at that, and I think I agreed with what you said, and that's what I have. I think that's what I have. 5 wave move from 10.6. Yep. And an ABC from 104 to 116. Not sure where you're looking at that. Then an ABC from my target is 93.3. So I don't have 92. Mine's 93.3, but close enough. And yeah, if there's bullish divergence on the shorter time frames, yes. The higher time frames, you won't see it because you're going to see the 3-wave nature of the move. So the higher time frames will show no divergence, but the shorter time frames should. And the ABC from 104 to 116, I have it as a WXY. And why? Because I see it in 3 waves, not 5 waves. Like this looks like a 3-wave move to me. And that looks like a 3-wave move. But basically it's the same idea. So this is our count. So I think you're pretty much lined up, and depending on what exchange you're using, maybe 93, maybe 92, but yeah, it's roughly the same idea, same place. I'm just kind of looking through things. Raw. All right, let's go back to that one, raw. I skipped over. Looks like we got a lot of those fours playing out here. Again, we'll just kind of trace the waves for now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, we have to look at the RSI. It's extending. So it just keeps extending again for some reason, unless it's in some kind of flat here. Yeah, I would say looking at it, something like that. So more upside, of course. I think that's good. It's just there'll be pullbacks. So the pullbacks are viable in 3 waves. It's likely to have a pullback soon. Right, this looks like to me some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, you may not see the subdivisions perfectly. I mean, maybe 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I wouldn't see. I think we're gonna call it that. Like, could it be a flat from here? I don't think so. I don't want to call it that. I think this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. Pull back. So we're gonna go with this count for now. All right. So we just keep tracing the wave. So I think we get a pullback and more upside. Yeah, there's decay on the SOFT. Yeah, the longer it trades sideways, the more decay you're going to have to deal with. Yeah, I don't mind spending time, guys. I like helping. Remember, I started my channel to help people, right? That's the reason I did this. I got sick of all the bad information out there on the internet, and I just got mad. I was seeing all people lose, and I get what pissed me off was in 2021 in December. To me, I saw a clear market pullback coming, clear as day. In December. It was in December, and all I heard on the internet from all these influencers about some Santa rally, some stupid Santa rally, load up, and it was the worst advice, the worst thing you could be telling people to do at that moment in time. It was the absolute dumbest thing, and it was coming from the professional community, the big influencers that you may follow, the hundreds of thousands, and it got me thinking, one, are they really doing what they say they're gonna do? Are they trading against you? That's one thing. Or like, do they really believe in that bullshit? And then two, it's like, I just got sick of it, and I was like, I got to start a channel to help people. And that's when I started it at the end of 21 in December, and I was telling people a big pullback bear market was coming in tech. and literally was trying to scream at the top of my lungs. I was like, all the favorite stocks you love and cherish are going to collapse. Every single one. I mean, and for the original people that still follow me from this day, they can tell you I was saying that. And I was saying that back then because I just got sick of because people were being led to the slaughter, and I just got so mad watching people lose their money. And one lady I remember in the COVID crash, she lost $500,000. Everything she made trading from the 2009. She was like a trader, and then the COVID crash, she lost everything because she bought the dip too soon. And again, of course I'm knowing I'm like, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, this shit's crazy. I just can't take it anymore. I can't just watch these people losing all this money. So I'm just gonna try to help people out, and that's why I started my channel. So I started my channel to help people out, and it's grown to where it's grown, right? It's grown to where it's grown, and we'll just keep growing our community organically. All right. So anyway, that's why I like. So to me, spending the time's good because I'm helping people out. The DXYZ, I don't know. I have to take a look at that chart. Maybe I'll look at it later. Yeah, educational videos is definitely something I'd like to do at some point. I can expand my service, and add that. I have plans to continue to grow the channel's capabilities as I can spend more time on it. I haven't, like I said, I haven't updated this in a while. It's kind of a freebie here. Looks like hey, if you can stay above that pivot, there's a chance. There's a chance of a relief rally. If you break it, and you have a whole nother leg lower to go. You would be it would be A, B, and then 1 2 1 2, boom. So, but if you can hold that, you can have A, B, C, and you can hold that. Then there's a possibility. So you decide. Space stuff is getting back in the news. Maybe it will get back in the mentality of the day trader, like Luna. But I think the problem I have is like ASTS and stocks like that don't look like they're finished going lower yet. So, all right, guys. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I got some things to do now. Appreciate it. If you missed this, you can catch me again tomorrow night. All right, guys. That's all I got. Good luck.